The next time you see a bird, any bird, a pigeon on a fence, a sparrow on a telephone wire, a crow on a rooftop, I want you to look at it differently because that bird is not just a bird, that bird is a dinosaur, a living, breathing, seed eating, flying dinosaur. And it survived something that killed 75% of all life on Earth. This is the story of birds, and it is one of the greatest survival stories in the history of life on this planet. Let's settle this immediately because people always push back on this. Yes, birds are dinosaurs, not descended from dinosaurs, they are dinosaurs. Paleontologist Steve Brusatte, who advises the Jurassic World movies and teaches at the University of Edinburgh, put it simply in his new 2026 book, The Story of Birds. Birds are dinosaurs in the same way that a T-Rex or a Triceratops is a dinosaur. They evolved from a group of two-legged meat-eating dinosaurs called theropods, the same group that includes T-Rex and Velociraptor. Over millions of years, some of those theropods got smaller, grew wings, and learned to fly. And that's where your windowsill pigeon comes from. Here is the part of bird evolution that surprises everyone. Feathers did not evolve for flying, not even close. Brusatte explains that feathers first appear in dinosaurs that were way too big to fly. A cousin of T-Rex from China, 30 feet long, nearly a ton in weight, was covered in feathers. It was going nowhere near the sky. So why did dinosaurs have feathers? The best evidence suggests they evolved for the same reason mammals evolved fur: temperature regulation, insulation. Those first feathers were simple hair-like strands, not quill pens, not wings, just warmth. Feathers are really a dinosaur invention that birds later repurposed for something entirely different. The oldest known bird is Archaeopteryx, found in Germany, about 150 million years old. And it is the perfect transitional form. It has feathered wings for flying, but also teeth in its beak like a dinosaur, claws on its wings, a long, bony tail. It is simultaneously both things at once. And when Brusatte himself first saw a fossilized dinosaur wing in a museum in Beijing as a college student, he describes it as almost a transcendent experience. A raptor dinosaur, perfectly preserved in stone, surrounded by a halo of feathers, its arms lined with quill pens identical to those on modern birds. Not a bird, a raptor. Until you see it, Brusatte says, it doesn't really hit home. Before birds even appeared, the sky was already occupied. Pterodactyls, pterosaurs, they were there first. By at least 230 million years ago, they were the first animals with backbones to ever achieve powered flight. Their wings, made of skin, stretched across a single elongated ring finger. They had the sky entirely to themselves for 80 million years before the first bird appeared. For more than 80 million years after that, birds and pterodactyls coexisted, neither wiped out the other. And then came 66 million years ago. The asteroid was 6 miles wide. When it hit what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, it triggered earthquakes, tsunamis, wildfires, and then blocked out the sun for years. 75% of all species died. T-Rex, Triceratops, all pterodactyls, all the older style of toothed birds with claws and long tails, gone. But a small group of modern-style birds. Birds with beaks, big chest muscles, the ability to fly very well, made it through. And the reason reveals something extraordinary about what evolution had accidentally prepared them for. Brusatte outlines why the birds that survived had the right features. They were small. Small means less food needed, easier to hide. They could fly, giving options no ground animal had. And they grew incredibly fast. Modern birds spend only a few weeks as chicks before they're essentially full grown. This rapid generation turnover meant they could adapt faster than slower animals. In a world where the rules had changed completely overnight, that was a massive advantage. But the most specific survival advantage? Seeds. These birds could eat seeds. When the sun was blocked for years by dust and soot, plants couldn't photosynthesize. Leaves died, fruits disappeared. The entire plant-based food system collapsed. But seeds are different. As Brusatte points out, we know from modern disasters like volcanic eruptions and forest fires that seeds can survive in soil far longer than any other plant material. They wait. They are built to wait. And the birds that had evolved hard, powerful beaks for cracking seeds had access to a food source that essentially every other large animal on Earth couldn't reach. They ate while others starved. After the asteroid with the giant dinosaurs gone, birds exploded in diversity. Some stayed small, but others became the predators themselves. Colossus penguins, gorilla-sized apex predators hunting in the oceans. Elephant birds in Madagascar, standing as tall as a basketball hoop, laying eggs the size of watermelons, terror birds, running predators that hammered prey with razor-edged beaks. These are real birds, real evolution. The descendants of the tiny seed eaters that survived the apocalypse became some of the most extraordinary predators the post-dinosaur world ever saw. And now we arrive at today. Because Brusatte said something in April 2026 that stops you cold, birds today are facing their greatest challenge since they stared down the asteroid. Just since the early 1970s, one human lifetime, North America has lost billions of birds from its standing population. Not extinctions. The species mostly still exist, but their numbers have crashed. Robins, songbirds, hawks, eagles, owls, all declining because of land use changes, pesticides destroying insect food supplies, pollution, climate change. These animals survived an asteroid, and we are proving harder to survive than the asteroid. But here is what keeps Brusatte optimistic. Two things. First, we've already proven we can fix this. Bald eagles were nearly gone in the late 1980s. By the end of the 1990s, they were common again along rivers in Illinois. California condors went from 27 individuals alive to over 500 today. When we actually decide to protect something, we can. And second, birds themselves. Brusatte said, "I'm more hopeful that birds can endure than maybe even our own species." Think about what that means. These animals survived the asteroid. They survived 150 million years of volcanic eruptions, ice ages, shifting continents. They are not fragile. They are the ultimate survivors. We just have to stop being the thing they need to survive. The bird on your windowsill is a dinosaur. It outlasted an apocalypse. And if history is any guide, it's betting on itself. That's this episode of Toon of Time. Drop a comment. What's the most surprising bird fact you heard today? Subscribe for latest discoveries. See you next time.